What's up? And thank you for checking out the Hospitality Strategy Lab. My name is Jason Littrell. If we haven't met, you head to jlittrell.com for all of my stuff. But this episode is about Kevin Pedeaux, Kevin Pedeaux from Roch Market in one of my favorite places in the world, New Orleans. Thank you so much for joining us, Kevin. How was your day? Where are you?
Everything's going well. Thanks for having me. I'm in St. Roch, so you've in the market, so you can see the columns and probably people and stuff walking behind me. You know, it's 11 o'clock here, so we're just starting to, lunch rush is just starting to trickle in.
All right. Well, tell me about your business.
My business, so I really started my real business. I started roasting coffee almost 20 years ago, and I was supplying coffee to coffee shops. And I didn't have my own coffee shop. And after Katrina, it was 10 years after Katrina, this building is owned by the city of New Orleans. And I opened up my first coffee shop. My first coffee shop was a stall here at St. Roch Market. And then from there, I grew that coffee shop into a couple of different locations. And then, of course, if you remember COVID, that changed a lot of things for a lot of people. And the lease for this building came available. And I've been leasing the building now for about 2.5 years from the city. And I've been putting vendors in and getting stalls and stuff filled and things. Because, I mean, I've been around here for 13, 14 years now at this point. I know the building well, and, I've got a good contact group of various food people around just from being in the food business in New Orleans for 20 years. So I've been able to, really kind of piece that together. So it's been fun, but that's my business in a nutshell, but it's a few different ones.
Got it. So Roch Market is 150 plus years old, and it's in New Orleans.
Yeah. Yes.
Like when they're that old, they kind of take on a life of their own, right?
For sure. There's no question about it. St. Roch, when you say a life of its own, that's exactly it. I don't feel like this is my business. I kind of feel like I'm its caretaker at the moment. I'm a footnote in its history. But yes, it's been around for 150 years. There's only two public markets in New Orleans that the city still owns, because prior to restaurants and grocery stores, the way a city like New Orleans that's old would have had to feed its population is from public markets. So the French market, of course, is the other public market with the, Café du Monde and all that type of thing that lots of tourists are very aware of. And of course, St. Roch, we're number 2. And of course, certainly, on the tourist radar as well. But we're an indoor, food hall more concept than the open market that this building once was.
The people listening to this typically go to New Orleans every July for Tales of the Cocktail. Does anything change?
No.
Is the only difference that people think that they understand the city? It's funny. It's like we go to New Orleans once. We're like, oh yeah, we know New Orleans, but it's like it's unknowable if you lived 10 lifetimes there.
Oh yeah, no. New Orleans has. I mean, you live next to New Orleans history. Everywhere you look, there's tons of history and tons of stories. And just because of its longevity, so many people have just walked through these halls. The columns that you see behind me here, I've got them decorated for Mardi Gras right now. It's carnival season here.
That's right. Yeah.
Those columns, they were part of another market before they were moved here to build this market 150 years ago. So they were part of a market over on Canal Street before they are holding up this building. So to know New Orleans it's just the history is so much deeper than anywhere else I've ever been in America. So for sure.
So how do you manage a multi-vendor marketplace? I mean, what's in it for them? What's in it for you? How does the business side of that work?
So the way I work it, this particular one, is that their rent is a percentage of the sale. There's a minimum, there's a floor, and a percentage of the sale. And for that, they get, for that percentage of the sale, all the communal areas we take care of. So all of the dining room you see behind me, the restrooms and stuff, we have a bus staff, a service staff, a dishwashing staff, and we provide all the dishes, we provide all the plates. And so the vendors just put their food on the plates so they can focus, really on putting out good food. And we kind of do all the market management takes care of all the making sure the grease trap is changed and make sure the plumbing's working and kind of all those things where they can focus on the food. So that's kind of how we do it. Definitely, the vendors, we could get more artistic, creative vendors that are doing interesting dishes, and they can focus on that. We can focus on the operations and then strengthen numbers. We have 13 different restaurants in this room. So no matter what you want, no matter what you're interested in, how many times will you go out to eat and you say, what are you in the mood for? What are you in the mood for? I don't know. I'm kind of feeling like tacos. Well, shit, I was thinking about sushi. Then let's go to St. Roch. Like it's just a great place to, because a lot of times when you go out to eat, you just want to be together with people. And this is a great environment for that.
Huh. That's really interesting. I mean, there's a couple examples of that. I live in New York City, so like we have like Time Out Market,
Time Out, yeah,
and Eataly and a couple other multi-vendor marketplaces.
yeah,
And it seems I've built a couple of myself. What's that?
yeah. I was gonna say Eataly is more, they own it all, they operate it all, right? Where Time Out is much more as a better example of what's going on here, like that they have their staff through and all the different businesses are totally different businesses.
Are there businesses inside of Roch Market that operate kind of a satellite location inside of Roch Market and then have a full brick and mortar somewhere else?
Okay, at the moment, I'm thinking about that. At the moment, no. But besides of course, my coffee shop that I opened up here is still here, and I have other coffee shops. At the moment, no, but certainly over the years that has happened as people expand and grow. The Daily Beat is is a big one that started here in the market and here in New Orleans. Of course, he opened up several in New Orleans. He's got one in Fayetteville now, Dylan. And so he had this one and that one. And then Good Bird was another one over the years that kept kind of both of them. COVID changed a lot of that, a lot of those will probably still be around, but yes, that does happen from time to time.
So you reduce the risk profile for a new restaurant or a new restaurant concept considerably. So you're saying we already have the audience, like we handle the marketing, we handle a good amount of the operations, you handle the creative and staffing. Do they handle the staffing as well?
They handle staffing for their foods, and we do kind of the common type of staffing. Yeah, dishwashers and stuff.
And everything runs through your POS for tracking, so you can see what's going on.
That's correct. That's all I can see what's going on. Correct. Cool. Everything runs through my POS.
It's all transparent. Yep. Okay, that makes sense. Have you ever had one of your vendors kind of matriculate into their own brick and mortar space? And have they used the Roch Market as like a kind of a jumping off point for their brand?
Over the years, that has happened. Like I said, at the the expansions that I have at the market at the moment is event. So, for example, all right, I'm gonna get back to that. That's a good question too. That's gonna go into something totally different. But to answer your question directly, yes, we've had food trucks that opened up their brick and mortar and they operate their food trucks out of here. We had another company, Elysian Seafood, over the years. Now they just do Elysian events. They just do weddings and catering. They have a big commercial kitchen elsewhere, but they started here with their stall and kind of morphed it into this was where they did a lot of their catering and stuff. Now they've done their own thing and they've taken off with that business. So over the years, things have changed. Right now, the growth with the vendors that I see, like for example, actually the stall right here, Arwen, she is Thai. She's from Thailand. Her cuisine is Thai, but she worked in a very fancy, like Four Seasons in Thailand and did Italian food. And so like, she's like, worked with Michelin star Italian food chef. So down the way, she's got an Italian stall. So the expansions that I have right now, are kind of like, like for her, she's doing Thai and Italian. And so really the expansions I have at the moment is not necessarily outside the building at the moment, but inside the building. But I've had restaurants, like I said, restaurants, the ones that I've had lately have got a good footing here, got a good following here, and then, moved on and done a restaurant.
That's really interesting. Okay, so it's a multi-use space, and it's open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. So that's breakfast, lunch, and dinner. How do you manage the operations from multiple day parts? Like, how do you organize everybody to work from 7 o'clock until 7 at night?
yeah, we've got a big staff coming through. And really what I've kind of done is, especially for our management staff, and really the management staff, even for time is a big deal, but also just like, all right, what's going on in the kitchen? Like you got 13 different cooks in that kitchen. There's a lot of things going on. So like I've got a manager that just deals with the kitchen. I've got a manager that just deals with the bar, And so like I've got my bartenders doing their creative drinks, working on that, but then I have a overall market manager, that's just working on that. So I've tried to kind of divide it so that way, like everybody cannot know everything that's going on in this place, And so really saying, to divide it is important.
But there's not 13 bars there. How many?
No, there's only one
I mean,
bar.
I mean, it is New Orleans.
It's New Orleans. There is only one bar here.
There's one central bar. Okay. And is that a leaseholder, or is that just managed by the?
I have to manage the bar, which is, I'm used to coffee, and I've been doing coffee for 20 years, and so like that's the uppers beverage business, and the bar is the downers beverage business, and they're very different, and so it's taken me a little bit of time to get the different personalities of that going. But right now I've got an amazing set of bartenders, and I'm pumped with the way that the bar is going at the moment.
Great.
Actually, I'm sitting at the bar. Market's behind me.
Okay. Well, you ever have any problems, let me know. That's my world. All right. So tell me about some revenue streams. So beyond food sales, food and beverage, like what other how else do you make money? Is it events, merchandise? Where is the other revenue stream?
Got a little bit of event. Yeah, see, and there's not a lot besides the food and bev, the percentage of the food and bev. There's not a ton of other revenue streams. Like we sell T-shirts and things like that, but I mean the main focus is the revenue stream. So the bar really goes to really help keep everything going. That goes straight into the market's operating expenses, and I mean the operating revenue, and then of course the percentages of the vendors go into that as well. And when you really think about it, the market could be, and the market really works a lot like my coffee shops, which has been, helpful for me to wrap my brain around, is that, right, since it's a percentage of the sale, the rent, overhead, the electricity, the insurance, the dishwasher, all of the steady things are very steady. It's very much like that in the coffee shop. The rent, the baristas, this is a very stable cost. However, it's a high cost. So getting to that high cost is the tricky part. But then once you get over that cost, that's when everything after that, it doesn't take that much more money to put on one more latte once the rent at a high traffic location is paid. And so it really doesn't cost that much more for the market when the vendors put out a plate of food, because the food cost, of course, is on them. So from the market's standpoint, it's really about getting to that break-even number every day so we can, after that, it's all gravy. So something like it's Mardi Gras time, we're going to hit it every day. We're going to be putting money away. And then, of course, during the slow time, during the summer, we're going to light cash on fire, keeping this place open.
Tell me about the numbers what are the numbers that you care about?
The numbers I care about, I mean, as the market operator, I really care about the gross sale. Gross sales sort of, solve all worries. And for me, as long as if that gross sale number is high, I want the vendors to get above their minimum. I want them to be successful. I want them to be rolling. So I want those gross numbers to be high. And of course, I want the next numbers to be high. Vendors can, and like, so for me at the coffee shop, and one of the reasons I'm sitting here today as the operator of the market is because I was a coffee roaster. I was supplying coffee to coffee shops. So I sold a ton of bags of coffee. So people coming in might be coming in for breakfast, might be coming in for dinner or whatever, having a cup of coffee and going, man, I really like this cup. Let me start buying my coffee from here. Or I'm visiting New Orleans. Let me take a bag of coffee, take a bag of coffee home. So I was able to kind of make that additional sale here at the market. And I think that's what I encourage all the other vendors to do, is to really kind of get that gross sale up by not just putting out a great plate of food, but hey, well, man, I love this. Like, why is this so? I make my own hot sauce, or I do my own peach preserves in my brisket sandwich, or whatever. So really, those like add on things, those things that the vendors can do as their creativity, and sell those additional things are really a great additional revenue stream because they're buying, but it's all food and bev. But they're buying the plate of food, but oh cool, I like this guy's hot sauce. I'm going to take this home so I can use it in my omelet in the morning or what have you.
Yeah, but you can still go across the street and pick up some Thai food from yeah. I love
Right.
that. Yeah, I love that.
Exactly. Yep.
I
Yep.
mean,
Yep.
everybody's a snowflake. Nobody likes to make decisions. But yeah, like you can walk into a place like St. Roch Market and have literally 13 options of things and a drink at
Whatever.
the same time.
You get a drink in your hand. In the morning, you grab a cup of coffee. In the afternoon, you grab a drink in your hand. You walk around, you see what strikes you, and you go from there. You don't have to be in the mood for anything. You just kind of can come.
Yeah, yeah, cradle to grave.
Yep, yep, yep.
Okay, so how do you get butts and seats? How do you get people to come through the market?
See, I think that, so number one, my job is not necessarily this has been a tricky thing that's taken me a minute because I came from being a vendor. And so I came from that mindset of, all right, I got to promote the vendors. And so, but really, I need to promote the market. When you come to New Orleans, you get to come to this 150-year-old building that's been a hub of the community this entire time. New food was created here in this building. The gumbo and jambalaya, those prototypes of dishes that are now world famous, started on this very ground. So it's important for me to tell that story. Like, hey, I've got a Thai lady she's from Thailand. She has a background in, Michelin star Italian cooking, and she's got, crawfish ragoons on her menu. So she's got a New Orleans flair to her thing. So this is we say that all the time, the gumbo is a bunch of different cultures thrown together. And really that's the same thing that we're doing here. So my job isn't to necessarily say, come get the crawfish ragoons. My job is to tell the story of, to come and get 13 different things. And if, as a visitor, you want to come to a place like this because you're going to taste New Orleans food of tomorrow in here today, as it's been happening for the past 150 years. And I really got to tell people that because it's amazing. It's a great story. And then for locals, I need to kind of tell the story of coming in to say, hey, number one, what do you feel like eating? You don't know, just come to St. Roch. And number two, it's like I said, I got the coffee shop up front. I got the bar in the back. Come in for a cup of coffee, come in for a drink, and see who's here. Oh, hey, how's it going? You meet up with people, you meet friends, and it becomes that community kind of third place, gathering place, which is what coffee shops are great at. And so I lean into that heavily with the market because we're such a centrally located location here downriver, and it's a place where when there's a mayoral election or any kind of like council districts and things, the events are here. This is that community hub space. So it's kind of like come in, see who's around, shoot the breeze with your neighbors, hang around, get a drink, and if you things are going well, grab some dinner or whatever, and just come to St. Roch to be it. So I have to really tell that story, and I have to let the vendors tell the story about how great their food is. So I've been getting better at that over the years.
Okay, so so it's busy. Is the business really consistent, like year in and year out?
Yeah, our business is certainly consistent. We work on a seasonal thing, just like lots of different cities do. New Orleans is certainly seasonal. We're busy from Halloween until the middle of June is kind of when, the middle of July is kind of when things really start to slow up. Hurricane season. It's hot.
I love New Orleans. I love New Orleans to pieces, but I've described it to somebody else as like being inside of somebody's mouth in summer.
Yeah, it's certainly, of course,
300% humidity, like 100 degrees.
Yeah, it's right, exactly. Today's a beautiful 60-degree, weather day, and it's fantastic here. So this right now is the time people want to be here and enjoy it. So we definitely have a seasonality to the market and to really all hospitality in New Orleans.
God, you have this huge social media following, 52,000 people. Is that mostly tourists or is that mostly residents?
I don't know about the social media following. I don't have the stats on that, but I can tell you from our credit card sales, we're 50-50. We're 50% return rate and 50% new customers, which anytime a new vendor or someone, asks me, "Oh, do you do mostly tourists? Do you do mostly locals? Like, how do I do it?" I'm like, "Man, you're going to hate the answer I'm going to give you, but it's 50-50. It's half locals and half tourists."
That's an interesting number that I would love to hear more about. Like that's a data point I think is fascinating. A lot of people don't even keep track of that. But how do you know? Is that what I mean? What is that? That narrows it down a little bit. That's toast, I'm guessing, or
So, I'm
square?
sorry.
Is it
Oh,
toast or
that's
square? Yeah. Okay.
square.
Yeah. Because like a lot of times, like when you run your reports, like what else are you looking at? Like return rate is so huge. I would want that number
Huge.
to be huge. Like I mean, 3 times that somebody comes back and it's a habit. They don't have to ask for directions anymore. They know when somebody says, "What do you want to eat?" We say, "We're going to go to St. Roch." You know.
Yep. Yep.
Um,
Yep.
what else do you look at on your reports?
Return rate's a big one. And even for the vendor, when I'm looking at the vendors to see how the vendors, like how customers are responding to vendors, I am looking at that return rate. Return rate's one of the, like you're saying, but you see, I'm looking at return rate because I'm a coffee guy. I run coffee shops. And so, return rate on a coffee shop is everything. We live and
Is
die
it
by
part of
that.
your morning ritual, or is it not? And that's
That's
it.
it. That's it. It's not like a busy, it's not like and I'm learning this. You said you're more of a bar guy, but like, today's Wednesday. The bar's not packed. There's a couple people having some Aperol spritzes down there.
Yay.
But that's kind of it. But Saturday night, we're going to be booming. Coffee shops say I'm used to that. Like you're coming to bring me $1 every time you come, and so like a Wednesday is just going to be just as busy as a Saturday. So I'm used to a much more steady cash flow, and I'm used to a ridiculously high return rate, 98% or something, because I'm looking at because that's huge for me on your way to work, like you're saying that it's coffee. You're in the it's good to be in the light addiction business is what you want to be in.
Light addiction? What does that mean?
In light addiction, you
Light,
don't want to get into
as
the
in
heavy stuff.
caffeine.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. Well, there goes my crack business. Yeah,
yeah,
light addiction. That sounds like a much more
yeah.
easy,
The
much
light
easier to
business.
explain to my son.
Yeah.
All right. Well, cool. Well, Kevin, thank you so much for jumping on. Is there anything else that you want to share about St. Roch Market or CR Coffee?
I would say like, if you come to New Orleans or you're around, come check it out. And you made a little mention before, and I want to like drive that point home. If you're someone that has a creative streak in you and you want to play around with a cool idea, like, to be a vendor in a place like this or this place, reach out to me, Kevin at strochmarket.com. To that your startup costs are so tremendously low. You were saying something like, oh, they don't have you can come in here, food, everything, depending upon your concept. So I hate to like throw a number, but really less than $5,000, you've got a business going, And I mean, I don't know any other place in any other concept that you can do that. So if you're a chef or if somebody says, if you got a food truck and you want to move to brick and mortar or whatever the case may be, to start your own brick and mortar place and to get the gravitas that this building has. Because when we get a new vendor, we get a newspaper article about it. People talk about it. Like it's something that's a big deal. So you get instant recognition around town. You get low startup costs. So like something like this really is attractive if you've got the tenacity and the go and the gumption to get it done. This type of business model is great for you.
Yeah. So I'm looking at the menus, and there's not a whole lot of pricing on there. What do you guys get for what's the average order value? Ballpark.
Average order ticket here's about $18.
$18. Okay. All right. So it's something that some people can go multiple times a week and not be too fussed about it.
And that averages in a cocktail and a latte. You know what I mean? In that overall thing, or buying a bottle of hot sauce, or like that whole that 18 is the average ticket.
Okay. All right. Well, Kevin, thank you so much for joining us on the Hospitality Strategy Lab. If you want to find out more about what Kevin's up to, it's he's running the St. Roch Market in New Orleans, and he owns CR Coffee Shop with a couple locations, two or three locations, was it?
Yeah, we've got the one here and 3 others. We got one in the airport, Metairie, and New Orleans.
And are you still wholesaling beans?
Yes, we're definitely still wholesaling coffee. I joke that's my real job, but we supply coffee to lots of coffee shops and things around the area, and we ship out across the country as well. So, yep, CR Coffee.
Great. All right. This has been Kevin Pedeaux from Roch Market, and CR Coffee. I'm Jason Littrell. This has been the Hospitality Strategy Lab. We will see you next time. Thank you.
Yep. Thanks for having me. Yep.